For the very first time, an inside look at the Jewish community of Cuba, an exclusive TV special on JLTV.
Cuba remained under Spanish dominion and therefore was subject to the mandates of the Inquisition. In other words, Jews were not welcome on Cuba. So for all intents and purposes, not until 1898, when Spanish colonial rule ended with the United States victory in the Spanish-American War, were Jews truly able to establish a presence on Cuba. And during the early decades of the 20th century, both Sephardic Jews from the Near East and Ashkenazi Jews from Eastern Europe immigrated to Cuba. In fact, Fidel Castro, the man who has been the face of Cuba and its communist revolution for decades, has suggested that he descends from Sephardic Jews. If true, many point to his maternal grandfather as the likely Jewish relative, a man who moved to Cuba from Turkey during the wave of Sephardic immigration to the island in the early 1900s. Similarly, the family of Dr. Myra Levy, the president of the Sephardic Hebrew Center in Havana, moved to Cuba from Turkey in the early part of the 20th century.
There was a revolution in Turkey, and he decided that the young Jewish men have to go to the army. And they don't want to go to the army, so they decide to emigrate. Where? To Latin America. Why? Because we speak Spanish and they spoke Ladino. So the assimilation was very easy. And then arrived to Cuba. We are talking 1970s, 1920s, and the Americans were investing in Cuba in the sugarcane industry, and they were investing in the main railroads. They were work for everybody. So they ride back and said, come to Cuba. Money's growing in the street, in the trees. So in between 1970s and the 30s, a lot of Sephardic people arrived to Cuba.
Stay tuned to JLTV and visit firsthand the Jews of Cuba.